The first episode of Season 4 gave us a lot to unpack. Because of that, many people miss some of the finest details the producers insert them for us. This is why in today's video, we are going to talk about 10 things you have missed while you watch the first episode, and trust me, no one caught all 10 of them in the first watch. Do you think you did better than the other person? The average is about 6 things spotted, so let me know in the comments how many of them did you catch. Before we start this video, I have a memorable mention to make. I first wanted to include this in the list, but I realized that I would insult your spirit of observation by doing so, because I believe almost all people caught this reference. Still, it was too important to not include it, because I think it would play a bigger role in the future. I am talking about the man in yellow telling Julie, "There's no way to change a story once it's been told." This line is the exact line Ethan told Julie when Julie first story walked, and she thought she could use that power to save people. Could this be a subtle hint about a connection between Ethan and the man in yellow? Another quick thing I want to add here, even if the man in yellow told Julie that a story can't be changed, I strongly believe that we would see the contrary because we need to have a happy ending in this cycle, so Julie would find a way to change the story and they would save the children's. Okay, let's go back to our list. The first thing you might have missed happens in the first 5 minutes of the episode, right when we saw the priest encounter the tree in the road. Did you notice the plate number on that car? If you were looking closely, the plate number resembled the name Eloise. So, could this be a subtle hint that Victor's sister is alive and we would see her in this season? If you are up to date with the main theories, you might know about this one. The main idea is that because we didn't saw her body, there is a possibility that his sister is alive. This idea is strengthened by Victor when he said that his sister was very good at hide and seek, and he would never found her. Because of this, a lot of theories suggesting Eloise is alive started to take forms, with many of them suggesting that she lived inside the tunnels and that she was the one who planted the crops in the forest settlement. What do you think? We would see Eloise in this season, or is she really dead? Also at the top of plate it says "Stars Fell On," and at the bottom it says "Alabama," which is correlate to a popular song name exactly like that, "Stars Fell on Alabama." One of the lines from that song is "A fairyland where no one else could enter." Doesn't this look similar with Fromville? Stars Fell on Alabama could also refer to the spectacular Leonid meteor shower that occurred on the night of November 12, 1833. This historic, intense, and widespread event saw thousands of meteors per hour lighting up the sky across the southeast, creating a lasting impression in Alabama folklore that was later popularized by a 1934 book and jazz song. Keep in mind that the missing motel is called Star Magic. So could this meteor shower be the real inspiration for the show? Moving forward with our list, did you notice that the suitcase the man in yellow used to transform into Sophia is the same suitcase Tabitha found in the tunnels? At first I thought they are just similar suitcases, but on a closer look I saw that they have the exact same stickers. The only question is how that suitcase get buried in the ground? I think the answer to that question is strongly tied with revealing what that place truly is. It's interesting to note that when Tabitha opened the suitcase, she found only one dress inside, which doesn't resemble the one Sophia's wearing. So could this mean that the man in yellow used that dress in the previous cycle to transform and blend into the city? Here is one of Victor's drawing. Could this drawing represent Sophia? Did Victor meet a version of her when she was little and this is why he acted so odd when he saw the car crashed? Speaking of the car crash, did you notice that the first thing Victor does when he sees new people arrive in town is start counting? I have to admit, I didn't catch that on my first watch. This was actually pointed out by one of my subscribers, Stamor Biliu. After thinking more about why Victor started counting, I realized something huge. We know Victor is the oldest survivor there, so he must understand things that most people don't. Maybe there's a rule where a new person arrives in town only when someone else dies, and Victor was trying to figure out that something didn't add up. That could be how he realizes Sophia is actually the man in yellow, because her presence doesn't match the count. The next thing you might have missed is closely related to this theory. When Boyd asks Kenny to count everyone in town, Kenny says there are 47 people. If you think that number is random, then you haven't been paying close attention to the show. The number 47 seems to have real significance and has appeared multiple times. We saw it on the radio during the night they spent in the RV. Tilly mentioned she has 4 children and 7 grandchildren. In the cave, we saw a drawing with 4 birds on the left and 7 on the right. And considering how important crows are in the show, that likely represents them. Father Kotri also tells Sarah, "What if we're living the 74th book?" As you can see, this number appears too often to be a coincidence. So maybe this is what Victor was counting. Maybe 47 is the critical number, the threshold they need to reach before moving to the next phase. The one where people start tearing themselves apart. The next thing you might have missed is the book that apparently saved Sophia's life. When Cautry kidnapped Sarah, he mentioned that you can find all kinds of books in that place, but not a single Bible. He found that very strange since the Bible is the most printed book in the world, yet there isn't one in town. At first I found it ironic that the first Bible to appear in town was brought by the ultimate evil of that place. But if you think about it more, it leads to an interesting idea. The man in yellow has been present in every cycle, so what if he made sure there were no Bibles in town by removing them? That way, when he brings one, he can use it to gain people's trust. Once he has that trust, he can manipulate them and influence their actions. So if you really think about it, it might not be a coincidence that there were no Bibles in town, and that Sophia is the one carrying one. Speaking of Sophia, here's another detail I missed on my first watch, and I'd bet many of you missed it too. During the crash, Sophia was actually smiling. Between that smile and the one she shows at the end, I'd say Smiley has some serious competition. Here's an interesting thought exercise about the crash. Do you think the man in yellow planned it perfectly based on knowledge from previous cycles? Maybe he knew that crashing the car in that exact way would avoid suspicion about Sophia surviving. And what about the location? Do you think crashing into the sheriff's station was intentional? Maybe it forced Boyd to stay at Colony House, keeping him away from town when something important happens. To me, this crash feels very deliberate, like it's meant to be a catalyst for everything that follows. One thing I forgot to mention in my last video and only realized afterward is that Sophia still has her neck injuries. Based on what we know about the monsters, I would have expected her to heal quickly, but maybe she can't. I don't think this is a weakness, though. He tells Julie that humans are such fragile creatures, which suggests he isn't vulnerable in the same way. Still, it's an interesting detail worth noting. Also, did you notice that the first thing Sophia does after Kenny explains the situation is that she tries to remove the talisman? Doesn't that seem odd? Maybe she was trying to get Kenny to reveal everything he knows about it, so she could understand whether the people already know its true purpose. What do you think? Another thing you might have missed is when Christy tells Boyd, "When people lose faith, that's when they start hanging themselves in the bathroom." This is a callback to Season 1, Episode 9, when Eric hanged himself in the sheriff's station bathroom after losing hope, following the massacre at Colony House. Taking into account that the man in yellow's favorite part is about to begin, the part where people tear themselves apart, I'd say we're about to see people lose hope again. And Christy might have a lot more to deal with than just stitching eyes. At number 8 on the list is the meaning behind the name Sophia. We know that one of the man in yellow's catchphrases is "knowledge comes at a cost." We even see this line painted on the barn walls. The name comes from ancient Greek and directly translates to wisdom or knowledge. I find this extremely interesting. It almost feels like a premonition. Maybe it wasn't the man in yellow who painted those words on the barn. Maybe it was Julie while she was story walking. Maybe she was trying to warn people about Sophia's true identity, that she would only bring destruction. If you're wondering why she didn't just write "Sophia is the man in yellow," I've explained this in multiple videos. In Fromville, you can't simply share knowledge however you want. If people learn something they're not ready to understand, it can have severe consequences. Take the boy in white telling Christopher about the children. Christopher didn't listen, so Victor told Miranda what the boy in white said. Because of that, Miranda tried to reach the bottle tree, but she was killed by a monster before she got there. That same night, everyone died, and the cycle reset. The boy in white later acknowledges that people need to learn things for themselves in order to truly understand the story. That's why people have to realize on their own that Sophia isn't just a frightened little girl who lost her father, but something much worse. This could explain why Julie wrote, "Knowledge comes at a cost," instead of directly revealing Sophia's identity. Moving forward, did you notice how the scene where Sophia kills the priest mirrors the scene where Sarah kills Toby? There are too many similarities for it to be a coincidence. Both scenes happen in the first episode. Both killings take place at night in the clinic. Both are committed by girls everyone believed were innocent. And both victims were involved in a car accident. So, could the voices Sarah hears actually come from the man in yellow? We've seen that he can control people by touching their bodies. So it's not that far-fetched to think he could also carve messages into them. Still, until proven otherwise, I believe the voices are a separate entity, and that they might actually be trying to help the people trapped there. The final highlight of the premiere is the jukebox song, playing while Acosta is in the diner. Send in the Clowns by Frank Sinatra. In this town, music often mocks its listeners, and this scene is no exception. Originally from a musical, the song tells the story of a former diva who realizes too late that she pushed away a man who is now successful and out of her reach. The phrase, "send in the clowns," is a theatrical expression used to distract the audience from a failing performance. By playing this song right after Acosta calls Boyd a monster, the jukebox is ironically highlighting her own downfall. She becomes the diva forced to confront her mistakes, the one who actually killed an innocent person, while the man she judged has moved far beyond her. And with that, we complete our list of 10 things you might have missed in the Season 4 premiere. Let me know in the comments how many you managed to catch. And don't lie, I'm actually curious. If this is how many hidden details we got in just the first episode, I can't wait to see what the rest of the season has in store for us. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.